So hey guys, my name is Saurabh and today we are going to solve an interesting problem whose name is compress the list. Its code is CMPRSS. Difficulty level for this problem is Cakewalk and prerequisite for this problem is none. So let's move to our problem statement. So this is our problem statement. It simply says that you are given a checkly increasing sequence from A1 to N. Your task is to compress the string. So how can we compress the string? So the compressed form of the sequence is a sequence of ranges separated by commas, means comma. A range is either an integer or a pair of integers separated by 3 dots. When each range from A to B in the compressed form is decompressed into the subsequences A plus 1, B, we should obtain the comma separated sequence given. So this question is trying to tell us if you have an array of size, suppose that n, and you will be given an array of size of this size. Let's take an example: 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 12, 15. So if you have an array of this size, then you need to convert this array into form of a string and print that string, and that string should be in the compressed form. So what is the method for compressing? So simple method is that if you get an element, then you can simply put that element in the string and add an comma, then 5, add that comma, and then 7. So you can see that 7, 8 and 9, these three integers are consecutive. So if you find any consecutive basically series of greater than equal to 3, means size should be greater than or equal to 3, then you can write these numbers in form of 7, 3 dots and then 9. Then again you have 12 and 15, then you can simply put 12, 15. Let's take another example. If you have an array of 12, 13, 14 and 16, 18, 19 and 21 and 22. So you can see that 12, 13, 14 are three numbers are in consecutive form. So you can simply write 12, 3 dots and then 14. Now you can see that 16, okay, then you can simply put 16. 18 and 19 are two numbers. They are consecutive, but the size is 2. We need size at least 3. So we can simply put 18, 19, and you can see that 21, 22 are in consecutive. Let's take another element 23 and 24. So you can see that 21, 22, 23, 24, these four numbers are consecutive. Then you can simply write 21, 3 dots, 24. So this is the way to compress the string. Now how can we write our code? So suppose we have an array of size n. Then first thing is to traverse the array. So how can we traverse? So first take a variable I equal to 0 and let's traverse the array. So while I less than n, okay, means we are traversing array. Every time we have an array and we are pointing to at any proper index. So suppose that I is here. Okay. Now if you have an array and your I is here, now you need to check is there any other element in front of this element that are in consecutive. So you will take another variable j, start with I, and take a variable count and start with it with 1. Okay, so count equal to 1 means there is only one element still which have this consecutive property, that single element. Suppose that here is 7 and 8 and 9. So we will point our pointer j to this point and count equal to 1 at that point. Now we will run a loop while our array of j plus 1 equal to our array of j plus 1, means till we are getting a number, a sequence which are in consecutive, we will increment our j. So simply increment our j plus equal to 1 and count plus equal to 1. But there is a problem when I is pointing to n minus 1th index, then your j plus 1 index will give you error because out of index. So you need to check another condition while j less than n minus 1 and. So after this loop, we know that starting from the I ending to j, we have these number of elements which are consecutive, and counts the variable that how many numbers of number that are in consecutive. So we'll simply check if our count is greater than or equal to 3. So we can convert this in form of compressed string. So I is the starting index, j is the ending index. So in starting we will take an empty string as something like that, and whenever we will get any if where count is greater than equal to 3, then we will simply write s equal to s plus. Now we need to add one comma So add 1 comma, then add plus. Now we need to add this element, so simply string of array of I. Now we need to add this element, but we need to add 3 dots between them, so 3 dots plus string of array of j. Now from I to j, all the numbers are in compressed form, so simply increment our I to j plus 1, and in else part means we get count less than equal to 2, means we can simply add that proper integer present at ith index. So s equal to s plus, add a comma, plus, and string of array of I, and simply increment our I by 1, so I equal to I plus 1. So this is the logic part. Here we are adding comma, so we can add this comma after while loop. So while I less than n, if we have s in the starting which is empty. Okay, so if our I not equal to 0, we will simply s equal to s plus that comma, so that we can remove this comma part from here. Now we know the logic part, we can simply write our code in CodeChef website. So let's move to our website. For number of test cases, so t equal to int input. Now we will for underscore in range t. Every time we will take 2 input, 1 for size and 1 for array. So n equal to int input and take an array. So array equal to list of map int input dot split. Now we have an array. Now put I equal to 0. So run a loop. So while I less than n, we will simply take another variable j and take an empty string in the starting, and if I not equal to 0, then we can simply append s with a comma, so comma, and we will run our loop while our j is less than n minus 1 and our array of j plus 1 equal to array of j plus 1. This means we can increment our count cnt plus equal to 1 and j plus equal to 1. Okay, so after while loop we can simply check if our count is greater than equal to 3, then we can simply append s equal to s plus the starting index, means array of I, and plus 3 dots. Okay, 3 dots plus array of j. Let's convert this into a string. So string of array of j and string of array of I. Okay, now just update our I. So I equal to j plus 1, and in else part simply s plus string of array of I, and simply increment our I. So I plus equal to 1. So this is the coding part. Now let's run this code. So this is the sample input. Output is something like that: 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 12, 15, 17. Okay, we are not printing our answer, so just print our s. Okay, 4, 5, 7, 8. Now let's submit this code. So you can see that our solution is perfectly fine. Now let's move to our CPP part. So this is our CPP code. This is same as our Python. Int main while t minus minus, we are calling a solve function. Now solve function is taking a variable n. N is the size of the array. Now we are taking an vector an, where a is the array that in which we are containing that number. So run that loop for I equal to 0, I less than n, j is equal to I, and count is equal to 1. If you got j less than n minus 1 and array of j plus 1 and array of j plus 1, so just increment our count and increment our j if count is greater than 2, or we can say greater than or equal to 3. Now count, cout, ai and aj, we are simply printing these things. Instead of writing this in string form, we are printing this, and increment our I equal to j plus 1, else cout of ai, so we are simply printing ai. Now in Python, we were appending our comma in the starting of the loop. This time we are printing our comma after every iteration. So this is our first error code. This is written in C++. Now you can see that int main t n while t minus minus means number of test cases. Now we are taking n, and there is a vector named a which will take all the values. Now string s, if n equal to 1, then s is equal to string, simply print that. Okay, now int I equal to 0, j is equal to 0, while j less than n, while aj plus 1 minus 1 equal to aj, means if you have, suppose that 2, 5, 7, 8, now check for that, put I equal to 0 and j is equal to 0 here, j less than, okay, now aj plus 1 minus 1, so aj plus 1 minus 1, okay, it's not valid. Okay, in this case, when there is a continuous process, then he simply increment s is equal to s plus array of I plus array of j and 3 dots, and else part, when there is only one element, suppose that this part, now he simply increment s plus array of I plus array of j. Okay, this is the wrong part here. If you have just one number, suppose that 2, 5, 7, 8 in this case, and if you have only one number, then I and j will point to the same number. So you cannot do like that, because in this case you are adding both array of I and array of j, and I and j are pointing to the same index. So this will be duplicate of that element. So that's the wrong part here. You cannot do like that. You have to check many more conditions here. So that was our today's video. If you like our video, then kindly like and share as much as you can. And if you have any query in your mind, then kindly post it on our YouTube channel. And the most important thing is that subscribe our YouTube channel, and we will meet in our next video. Until, keep coding.